esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Starladder Season 10. The LAN Finals continue now. We're live here from Kiev Cyber Sports Arena, and it's time for our third elimination match of the game. This one will be Alliance. Just got done taking care of business with Execration, IAP. They now move on to face a tougher opponent in Team Tinker. Of course, I'm LD, and to my right is Cinder. Hey, Cinder.
Yeah, hey, it's pretty clear that Tinker is definitely a tougher opponent. The question is, how much tougher are they? How well did they do yesterday? I think in the games against Secret, they actually put up a really good fight. Secret, who looked really shaky on day one for me personally, pulled it way better together on day two. And if Tinker can play up to that kind of level, I think it's pretty fair to say that they're probably the favorites going into this game against Alliance, who, yes, they came off, they came with a win against IAP just a moment ago, but that was, again, it's kind of two different stories. When you look at like IAP and Team Secret in this tournament, IAP started out so incredibly strong and really took everyone by surprise with how good they were in early game. And Secret, on the other hand, started out pretty shaky, and now it just flipped. IAP halfway through the tournament really lost their stride and couldn't find it again. And a game against Alliance didn't really look too convincing either. But
yeah, and Alliance has kind of been stock rising, so yeah, they've looked more and more impressive.
This could be a close game, but arguably probably Team Tinker, I don't know, 60 to 40 favorites. Is that fair to say, or do you think it's more or less than that?
I think that's about right. I'd say, yeah, with the way Alliance has played like over the past two games, I think it's fair to say 60-40. Prior to that, I would have said more like 70-30, but I think they've stepped it up. And Tinker with some mistakes against Secret. It's not Secret is a great team. It's more like, especially that game one, I feel like Tinker really had at least an even shot with their start, and just some key misplays. They got out late gamed, and Alliance is pretty stable in the late game overall. They don't make too many mistakes. Bulldog in the game yesterday that they got their first win in the group stage, he looked S4S on his Batrider, and if he can make plays like that against Tinker, then they'll be in great shape. And with that said, the draft is underway. It's a double ban out on Ape Mother for Tinker. They removed the Brew, which is one thing, but they also banned the Mag first phase.
And then they picked the Viper.
And then they picked the Viper. So a triple ban out, I guess you could say in some ways. As for Alliance, they removed the Legion Commander, something Tinker have used a lot. No surprises there. The Skyreth Mage of Bulba is entirely ignored. That's another point worth mentioning. He talked at length about how much he loves the hero in the great interview that Cheever did with him earlier. And there's one more point I wanted to make, but now it's escaping me. Sigh.
Krob is still in? Was that it?
No. Razor and Krob are still in, though. Yeah. That is worth noting, too.
You should have just said yes. And we'd be like, oh.
That would have been, that's not like a, oh man. Well, what could I say? Alliance do get their Wisp, though.
Yeah, that's the trade-off here. Wisp, in this tournament, probably the hero that gained the most popularity in them. Like, as I usually say, every tournament has like its own like mini metagame. I think Io is the #1 pick in this relative to what happened in the previous month. This hero has just been so popular here. Tinker's picking it early. Alliance are picking it early. We've seen, what is it? Of course, Secret picking it for no-tail whenever they could get away with it. And I think there's one more player who's alluding who also picked it. Navi picked it for Vanscore yesterday.
And he played it really well.
And he played it really well, too. So that's gaining a lot of popularity here. So not surprised with Alliance opening with Ogre Io, to be honest. But
I thought they might go. You know what I wanted to say is I thought they might go with Batrider.
That's true.
Bulldog's been so good on it, but they don't.
And it's still in. So it looks like Tinker are not afraid of it and probably actually want Alliance to take it and just counterpick it. Could look for something like a Vengeful Spirit for that, a Shadow Demon, maybe any hero that gets a Yules. There's many options to dealing with the Batrider, and I don't think Alliance want to pick it yet. As I said before the game, I think waiting a little bit on Bulldog's pick might be a smarter choice than showing their hand early.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, at this point in particular, I mean, they did ban his lone druid. Tinker were thinking that Alliance might diverge from the way they've traveled these games to date. So with this PA8 and where do you think they're headed? We have run a gyrocopter with it historically. Sometimes we see the... All right, did I say PA? I meant with this Wisp. Do they go for something like a PA? Do they go for something like a gyrocopter? Sven is out there. Do they care what the Wisp partner is at all? And if so, which direction do you think they should take? They do get the Bulldog bat.
They're against the Viper, so there's some IO partners that get a lot weaker from that. Of course, the ones that are heavily dependent on physical damage only, like the PA, I think it's a weaker pick than, for example, Tiny, who also has the spell damage combo.
You know what's funny? I didn't even mention Tiny because we just haven't seen any Tiny.
I don't know why teams aren't picking that with IO anymore. That was like the #1 stable, together with Chaos Knight about a year and a half ago or something like that, and that one was pulled out 2 games ago by Eternal Envy against Virtus Pro. So
yeah,
I don't know if Tiny is the right choice in this particular game because you're up against a Tide and a Shaker as 2 of the other heroes that are actually both really good against Tiny. So
yeah,
they're going to grab Gyro instead for Loda. I like this as an alternative. Once again, it's not completely physical dependent against the Viper. So now he has Rocket Barrage, Homing Missile, and the Call Down. So, and maybe they just saw Navi playing yesterday and they were like, well, we can do this too. Yeah. Last pick the Pudge.
A man can dream. That would be quite a hero to throw 8 Mother on. I think that would be his too if they picked the Punch.
Yep, his is missing now.
Tinker will go for the Umber Spirit of Sing Sing. Magnificent in that beginning of that game against Secret, game 1.
Yep.
One misplay where he didn't BKB. They went into the fight. And Bulba was talking about it, or EGM was talking about the pregame interview. Just dropped the Static Storm, lost the fight there. And he said it. That was pretty much the game, just losing that one engagement. That was how tenuous their hold on it was, or their lead was. And this time around, no real great solutions for Ember. There's just Lasso, and unless you get lucky with multicast, they don't have much lockdown. It's a pretty good Ember game to date.
I think Alliance need to last pick a counter, a direct targeted counter to Ember for the mid lane here for 8 Mother.
There's Doom out there, although his laning isn't the best.
No, that could work, and then they could even put the Bat Rider mid if they want to put 8 Mother and then offlane the Doom for Bulldog. But I would be surprised if they pick that up here. And at the same time, that would give them kind of the essence of Alliance's draft is really short range. Ogre will come in close for the Fire Blast, or at least if he wants to go in and attack. Bat Rider is pretty short range. Gyro, yes, he's a range carry, but he's a really short range one. So if you get a Doom as well, it's like a dreamland for Shaker and Tidehunter to fight against a lineup like that, because it's very easy to land multiple hero fissures and ravages. So for me, Alliance need a range hero with a silence or a single target stun that can also stand in lane against Viper. Does that even exist? I don't know.
Is this where I alt-tab and bring up the heroes list?
They could put a dual lane mid as well, though. Either with the Ogre or the IO Gyro mid, and then put in the hero of 8 Mother safe lane. They're not exclusively putting him mid. We've seen him playing a Viper safe lane, for example, so they might put him on that one.
Yeah. Tinker, their draft also to me is interesting because they do have a natural mech builder in the Viper. Oh, okay, Necrophos. Can build a Hex, can push pretty hard. He's good at dealing with spread damage carries in general. I think that's where he excels, just healing your whole team up. But doesn't really give them proper lockdown for an Ember. You don't game plan around your Necrophos farming a Hex.
This makes me wonder if they want to try to pull off the secret thing with IO together with Necrophos on the lane and then solo the Gyro.
That duo was scary.
That was really good. And even if they don't run the lane, they can run it later into the game. They don't have to tether up the Gyro necessarily. Gyro is still a strong carry in his own right, and you can support the Necrophos instead. The main thing for me is Necrophos generally needs a bit of time. He is not strong one-on-one mid in most cases. He's decent against melee heroes, but if he's against Pykes Viper, I think he's going to get run over.
8 Mother was actually, maybe the Wisp supports him, maybe a dual lane.
That's possible.
Because 8 Mother has picked up the Necrophos. Other option is they could just switch up the lanes. They did show a Bulldog mid last time around. And they do have his Bat. That was the hero he played.
Yeah. I don't think Bat Rider does particularly well against Viper either, though. So it's a tricky call for Alliance how to put the lanes. And I think it's really important how they put their lanes. In some games, you're like, yeah, okay, well, if we put the lanes like this, if it doesn't work out, we can just rotate. Or maybe it's not that important. Sure, we lose a little bit here, we gain a little bit here. But in this, it could be like the difference between a win and a loss. If you put your lanes poorly, you can lose all 3 of them early on. And Tinker has a lineup that's just so explosive at 15 to 20 minutes in that if you're on the back foot as Alliance and you have heroes that need farm like Gyro, like Necrophos, you could just completely run out of breath after 15 minutes.
Well, let's find out who made the right decision here. Alliance and Tinker. You've got EGM who opted to part ways with them. Alliance, the ones to remove him, but it sounded like it was going to happen on his end regardless. Who's going to get the better end? I mean, that's a juicy grudge match. Whether or not there's any specifically big drama between them, you know it's that little extra something. Secret were very happy when they beat Navi, for example. They had some grins on their faces, and fairly so. So with that, we get into it. Tinker on the Dire side. They dropped down from the winner's bracket, lost 2-0 to Secret, and look to make their way back for a second shot at redemption there. EGM will be your Earthshaker, already lumbering down bottom lane. He's dropped an Observer Ward early. Koikfa on that Tidehunter will be headed to the off lane. Looks like they're going to do a bit of a fissure block. Sing Sing going mid as your Ember. That puts Bulba on the top lane Disruptor, and it leaves Pycat. Will be supported by him. They're not running him mid. They're actually running him to the side lane. On the Viper. So, as for Alliance, we have Loda on the Gyrocopter, your TI3 champions. They've struggled to reclaim their former glory, still searching for it here at the Starladder Season 10 LAN Finals. Ake on the Wisp, taking over that role in EGM's departure, or in the wake of his departure. Batrider for Bulldog. He'll go mid again. He was very successful the last time he did this, not in the lane, but later on in the game he was. Misery, your Ogre, Magi, and that leaves 8 Mother on a carry of sorts on the Necrophos in the safe lane.
Yeah, this is the main thing for me to look out for in this early game is how does the Alliance dual lane off lane fare. The Necrophos will be getting good farm as a result of how they've put their lane, so I think that's very important for them that 8 Mother gets an easy lane, and playing a Necrophos against Tidehunter should be a win for him. Just slowly whittling down the Tidehunter with his aura and just getting the farm, and whenever Tide needs to go into Anchor Smash, you can hit a Death Pulse and just over time, just drain him.
This is what the old boys did in I-League. They ran the Necrophos. I think it was against the Tide or something similar, some sort of melee hero that's where Necrophos generally does well.
The thing about this top lane, though, is for Alliance, they've got a very potent burst-oriented lane with the Ogre stun into the Gyrocopter Rocket Barrage, but there's a Shaker on the other side. So finding those kills is going to be very difficult, and to be honest with you, I don't know if Alliance should be looking for kills up here or if they should be looking for farm, and if just looking for farm is good enough. Because for me, the Viper in mid of Pycat should probably be beating Bulldog, especially if there's any sort of rotation just once. If Viper gets a kill one time on Bulldog, he's going to get run over.
Yeah, Bulldog actually started with an interesting build. He went for the Null Talisman, and this goes back to the changes to Batrider from a few patches ago. His base damage is a lot weaker than it used to be. And it helps him last hit.
He's rolling Pycat in this lane so far. 6-1 against 1 and 2.
He's still got worse base damage before you factor in the sticky napalm, but with it he's able to last hit pretty well. And Pycat's afraid of getting dove under his tower if this wave pushes in. So he is staying a bit farther back.
And it might sound like a minor thing, but the fact that Pycat started with Nether Toxin level 1, I think gave Bulldog a couple of last hits in this lane as counterintuitive as that might sound, because if he started with the Orb attack instead, he would just harass Bulldog away constantly and then take the farm for free. Instead, with Nether Toxin, he's fighting for it. But if Bulldog has 2 Napalm stacks on it, that's still better than the level 1 Nether. So perhaps a little bit of a mistake in the build-up here, but now they're going to tie up, and I think Pycat will start taking control soon.
Yeah, but just breaking even is, or even losing the lane a bit is still fine for Bulldog, because he will catch up in the jungle. Oh, they're going to go in top lane. On to Sing Sing. Support's not home. And they're going to dive him a little bit, get that club out. Just wants to test it out, make sure it's working.
Base damage is so damn high, and his one weakness as a support that's generally referred to is the fact that he is, of course, melee, so it's hard to get in and get the attacks off. When you have an IO to get him in there, then, this is not possible to kill.
They can't fissure block him. They don't have anything, really, to keep the Batrider in position.
This is a waste of time, essentially.
They're hoping he's going to use Firefly or something, and then they can make that go. But it's not going to, they won't get that opening.
But just the fact that they're missing at least makes Bulldog play very cautiously, and that's free farm for Pycat. So they do accomplish that, but it's at the trade-off of Sing Sing not really getting too much in the top lane right now, at least. He has to wait back. We'll get homing missile right now by Loda. He wants to try and
they're going to tether in, and they're going to dive him. This could be our first blood. Flame Guard was used. It's almost immediately dispelled Loda. Just swerving around the creep wave. Doesn't have any more support. He needs to wait for this next wave to come in. And by that time, the support has arrived. EGM's rotated back. They should be able to protect Sing Sing against the follow-up dive. This is, again, the level 2 homing missile, the same build that Havost used yesterday. Guessing Loda saw that game. Nice sleight of fist to dodge it. I was actually thinking about this when the game happened yesterday, Sin. But the issue is, unless you max Sleight of Fist, it's got a 30-second cooldown. So that's very long. The homing missile, 13 seconds shorter. You can't constantly Sleight of Fist dodge.
And you also need to be in range for some creeps, because if you just target ground,
yeah,
the missile will hit you. So it's situational. I think in the safe lane for Sing Sing, having this point in Sleight of Fist is going to be useful way more often than if he were in the mid lane. So I think that's a good choice. And just showing right there his knowledge of the hero, of course, in disjoining that. So very nicely done. And I mean, overall, as far as the farm goes, I think it's a slight victory for Alliance so far with how they've put their lanes, so they've got that going for them. Bulldog will be stacking the jungle, as we already talked about. So he'll be getting a pretty fast blink. Yeah. And we might not even see the first blood of the game before he has the blink, to be honest. At least not from Alliance. I think it's very unlikely they can find a kill until that point. So if he's the first blooder with that pickup, then
it's been a very slow game.
But then it also means that Team Tinker don't have solutions yet, because they won't have good levels themselves against the Batrider if they don't find kills in their supports.
Yeah, their supports do not use the jungle the same way. EGM, level 2. I mean, he's still fine as far as his level comparison goes. The Wisp is pulling ahead a bit for Ake. And they look for that jump in top lane onto Sing Sing. No homing missile to set it up. Meanwhile, Disruptor Illusion is going to scout out the stack, so they get eyes on the triple. But that's just such a difficult camp to go into, like all the way tucked here in the Radiant jungle. And they don't have particularly a ton of mobility to get there. So I doubt they stop this anyway. But they will stop a stack at least, which is nice. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah, they will. Ends up just disrupting the creep wave.
Oh, might see an opportunity top lane and not too long from Team Tinker. Alliance do, however, have this ward, so they know EGM is hanging out in the side, and now they see him crossing over, so perhaps they try for an initiation themselves here. At least Loda going way more aggressive now that EGM has left the side of Sing Sing. And so far, so good for Alliance in that off lane. That was, for me, what could be the most important lane of the game. And Alliance managed to pull it off.
Ake does have a tether. He'll be okay. But yeah, looking at farm, all three of their cores are farming, and the Ember is being shut down, and they're getting levels on Wisp. I mean, these ingredients are... Overall, it's a pretty damn decent start for Alliance. They're up by 1,500 gold, closing in on a 750 experience lead. And they can get farther ahead, too. With the Batrider and the Gyro, who can both use the woods, they could really pull out. But I want to point out, Sin, that Loda is diverging from the Vos build. He only got 2 points homing missile. Oh, we have an engage at the river. Viper Strike was used. Pycat committing onto Bulldog, but he's tethered up. And now they turn the other way. They've got a lasso ready. He gets pulled into the Firefly, into the orbs. Might well be your first blood of this game. Pycat dropping fairly low. There's only 3 sticky napalm stacks. It's not. It's actually top lane where EGM goes down to the Earthshaker goes down to Loda's Gyrocopter. They still get the Pycat kill in the end. So make it a 2-for-0. Loda just found out that support solo.
And as I said, the first blood not coming until the Batrider blink.
That was great calls.
They got 2 kills at the same time even, so pretty wrong on that. But yeah, Alliance just extending their lead here. This is a pretty big deal that Bulldog, who in my opinion in this mid lane should be losing, which he also started. He started losing to Pycat. Pycat getting a lot of denies in particular, so he got ahead in levels. That's almost negated now with that kill around the mid lane for Bulldog, and with the stacks in the jungle, which, oh, never mind, he has farmed them, so he's probably going to stay on par, which, as we talked about, is good enough. At the very least, maybe even better than good enough.
And the other thing is now he can just leave the lane. They can give the lane to the Ogre. They could maybe give it to the Wisp, though more likely Ake will be with a teammate. And speaking of Ake, he's now a courier. TP's top, he's got the Loda Ogre Club ready. But yeah, I wanted to say for Loda, he's maxing homing missile, not just taking the 2 points in it early. As they jump in top lane, Fisher's there. And they try to focus on Ake. Calldown will zone them out a bit. Loda surging forward. There's no fire remnants yet. He doesn't pop his flame guard until the last possible second. Loda will be forced out. There was a glimpse from Bulba just to try to secure his retreat. So yeah, homing missile level 3.
Having this level 6 Gyrocopter so early is very powerful. They played that lane 2-on-3 and they almost got a kill. Now Misery is going to join the party, so
if they
catch up here, that's very good Fisher from EGM. That ain't happening.
Compare this to when they ran the Sing Sing Ember yesterday. He was getting free farm top lane. He's getting nothing right now. Well, 20 CS isn't nothing, but it's, what, barely 2 CS a minute? Not enough, it feels.
No, the only hero getting very good farm on Tinker is the Viper, who, by the way, has a haste rune and is looking for some sort of blood in the top lane. Will Nether Strike
They have.
Misery, that's not called Nether Strike, that's called Viper Strike Sin. Nether Strike's the ultimate of Spirit Breaker, and yeah, he's going to get glimpsed back into his stuff.
Well, that's okay. I'll just run the other direction. I don't know. Well, he ends up going down, but it's a 4-hero investment just to kill the support Ogre. It's not the kind of convincing wins that Alliance have been taking. Still, it's a kill. But the quiet story of this game is Ape Mother. 51-25 to the 28-1 of the Tide. You do expect Necrolite to win this lane, but he's already got a point booster. This is going to be a fast Aghanim Scepter. Against one hero that can use buybacks very well in Ember Spirit, could be potent.
Not sure he wants to rush the Ags or if he's just buying it for as a value pickup right now and then getting something else for the team. Because when you look at Team Tinker's composition, having a mech or a pipe, I think, is extremely good in this game. They're so heavily AoE based. They even have an IO to tether to whoever gets targeted, so he gets healed for much more than just the mech. So there's, I would say they need to get a mech on their team. The question is if it's the Necrophos who gets it, because if this keeps going on with Ake getting a good dual lane off lane with Loda, maybe he can get it at like 20 minutes in, which could be an okay timing for him.
Yeah, Wisp is a decent hero to put it on as well, just for the bonus armor. And of course, that means your Gyro always has a lot of heals by his side. What is this courier doing anyway? This Beaver Knight is lost in the woods. It's like hidden in the trees.
He'll never find me here.
Well, meanwhile, Tinker are going to rotate. They bring Bulba and EGM down to towards the bottom side of the map. Actually sending 3 heroes mid, and they're abandoning this top lane right as Alliance start to move in. So they're going to claim their free territory uncontested, and they set up shop so that if Tinker do come in, they'll be ready to punish the forced teleport. EGM, meanwhile, fencing towards the top rune, but it's already claimed and picked up, and Sing Sing will get an invis. So both teams, it's like they've just have a gentleman's agreement to give up their tier 1 towers. Although
I don't think Alliance will give up theirs.
Yeah, it's just Alliance taking theirs. Tinker want to trade. They haven't even scratched it yet.
No, there's the ping from Misery. Looks like he wants to defend it. Sing Sing has now hit level 6, so they do have the Fire Remnants dealing some good damage, and of course giving him a lot of mobility. But he doesn't have the farm to go with it, right? That's the important thing. Sing Sing got shut down in lane. He is... It's a great Ember Spirit game, as we talked about, and should he get farmed, I think it's looking grim for Alliance for a late game situation where they don't really have a single counter pick to him. But Alliance might not even want to go that far into the game.
And it's now an Ogre Club for Ape Mother, so it could be a casual point booster into BKB, or maybe we just do see that Aghanim's rush.
At this point, it's probably the X.
It's a... I'd still think it's a pretty good item, but even without it, Necrolite can still bring a lot to the fights with that plus 30-second death timer. Imagine Sing Sing dying once or twice to this. His farm will be horribly neutered. They do have a slight stack here that he could look to farm, and they have completed their mech on Pycat. And at this point, with the way the lanes have developed, Sin, there's a blink on Koikfa and there's a mech on Pycat. I still wonder if they can actually fight into Alliance. They have a lot of AoE. There's a Necrolite who's fairly durable, can help heal off that initial burst. And there's a Bat who can disrupt their chain of initiation.
If Tinker gets a good initiation, they will run over Alliance, I think, right now. They don't have enough to deal with the raw spell burst because they don't have mech or magic resistance. And the IO is very fragile, obviously. 600 health on Aki. The most tanky hero on Alliance's side is, as a matter of fact, the Necrophos, so he will be hard to bring down, but they don't necessarily need to focus him yet. Generally, later on in the game, you want to kill Necrophos first so he doesn't heal up the team, but with the other heroes having as little health as they do, if you imagine a Ravage, Searing Chains, Flame Guard running, you activate Fire Remnant, and you use one Fissure, you could probably kill 2 or 3 of Alliance's heroes with that.
Hello, EGM.
Oh yeah, he is...
Goodbye, EGM.
Pretty much just stuck up there. I guess Alliance saw him with this ward right here.
Yeah, that lane ward doing work.
That was a very easy pick off for them. Don't think there's going to be any collateral.
No, don't think so either. Sing Sing only has a level 2 Flame Guard, though. Normally by 7, you see this max with the 2 points in chains, but he'll have it soon enough. And generally you don't take that point in Sleight of Fist. But until he does, they'll be a bit weaker in fights. He now backs off for the 3rd point in it. And once he has that, he'll become significantly more durable, as Alliance are mostly nuke damage centered for this time. They begin to stack their Ancients, and we're starting to play Alliance Dota. Although, I will say in some ways, Tinker are capable of doing this with them on paper. Like, we saw they can use the Wisp very efficiently. They know how to take advantage of stacks in the woods, but I'm not sure if their draft will do it quite the same. Sing Sing has no farm, so he can't clear stack Sind, and Earthshaker's not that great. It's only the Tide Hunter who can really capitalize. Whereas I look at Alliance, I see a Bat Rider who can clear stacks well, Necrophos who's decent in the jungle, and then, of course, the Gyrocopter. If this turns into a farm war, can Tinker keep up? That's my question.
I think they can. The Ancient stacking from Koikva already happening, and he farmed quite a bit of it with his Anchor Smash. Ran out of mana, though, so didn't finish it completely. And if Tinker stay on par, which they will as long as they're able to control their own side of the map, I believe, then I would say it favors Tinker that this game goes longer. And I think Alliance see it the same way, and that's why they're starting to put pressure on some towers here. They have quite a lead right now with their start, so
they're going in top.
Extend it.
Lasso onto Bulba, and the relocate comes through. He's not at level 6. A great time to fight. A call down is waiting as heroes arrive. Loda may need to retreat, though. Ake just trying to survive a bit longer. They stun Koikva as he's about to get off his Ravage, but that may work out better for him. And he blinks in. He just manages to clip Loda, and they can bring down this Gyrocopter too. Alliance tried to pick a fight under the tier 2 of Tinker, and a 5-hero rotation, well, 4 rotating, 1 already there, does punish it.
That was a very quick TP from Pyket with the mech, made a big difference there. Else, Disruptor would have died instantly, and they would have probably just backed out, but they kept Alliance there a little bit longer and got a good trade-off for it. And it's not just that it's a 2-for-1, it's that it's IO Gyro in particular. These 2 heroes getting killed off. They want to be a tandem running around farming and not wasting time. And them doing that just cost them 15 CS probably, as well as their death. So
and maybe a stack or 2 as well.
It's pretty important that Tinker gets these plays off right now. And Bulba died after...
He got level 6, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really big loss going for that play. And I think that was a little too chancy from Alliance. They're going to try to dive EGM here, or just harassing him, I guess.
They do know Ravage is on cooldown, and they can brute force the mid lane a bit. It's going to be down for another 90 seconds. That's a pretty long time. They also bring their Necrophos, the first time that 8 Mother has left that bottom lane. And this tower will drop quickly. Calldown's even ready, but they're still worried to fight against Pycat. Loda thinking about it. The calldown connected on 2. Bulba with the Static Storm dropped. It connects nicely on 3. And Tinker unable to defend this. It looks like zone back. Oh, maybe they do get the deny in the end. Bulldog still searching for the lasso. Good tower deny from Tinker. They will retreat. They were like running in and out. Both teams unsure if they could take the fight. And in the end, it was Tinker who were able to stick around a bit longer. And a lot of that does go to the mech of Pycat.
Good call from Alliance to take the tower, though. They know they are ahead when the Ravage is on cooldown. If there's a Ravage there, they get run over. But Koifa couldn't initiate that yet. He's still 40 seconds short of his ultimate. So that does, however, mean that with that tower getting denied, it wasn't the biggest of victories for Alliance, but still a pretty decent one. But the next time they try to push for a tower, they need to be way more careful, and they might have to get a crucial pick off first before they can even get away with it.
Misery does take that value point in Bloodlust. We've seen quite a few Ogres just skipping it entirely, but not him. He wants to buff up his Gyrocopter. He gives Bulldog a little extra move speed. Not quite the Mask of Madness, but it's a decent move speed boost for him nonetheless.
It's a 1-point wonder as far as move speed goes. 10% for 1 skill point is really good. That's a Yasha in move speed that you give your team. Very, very good.
Yeah, he moves at 4:18 as it's about to wear off. With the smoke, he can even move faster. Still not finding anyone, though. Tinker are moving as a pack, and it seems like they're the ones sticking together more, which is definitely going to cause them to get out-farmed if it continues. Sing Sing very far off from his Battle Fury. I still worry about this Ember.
That's the biggest problem for Team Tinker right now is Sing Sing's farm. The rest is going okay. Viper's doing well. Tide has what he needs. The supports have their levels. EGM sitting on level 6. Bulba even sitting on level 7 now, so they're level 4 Glimpse, which is really important and great against a Wisp lineup. They have the tools, apart from Sing Sing's lacking farm. And how do they get him the farm is the question now. Right now, they see some Alliance heroes bottom, so he can farm safely top. And Sing Sing needs to, I don't know if he needs to play greedy for farm and take some chances here, but I would say maybe it's the right call. As long as he has a Fire Remnant out, they can relocate gank him. He just sees them coming and jumps to the Remnant. So Bulldog has to be the ganker, which means if he's visible, Sing Sing will farm early.
They're getting ready to jump on mid. Koikfa smoked along with Bulba. They have a glimpse at the ready.
Getting ready to jump on bottom as well.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Alliance opening this one.
Yeah, Tinker ended up backing off right as Alliance are going in. They've got the Necrophos ultimate. If they time this right, they can keep Pycat out of the game for quite a long time. The Axe is online now. There you go. And that's going to be a lot of mana back for 8 Mother. Now Loda BKB'd and joining this. They didn't really need the Wisp Gyro at all, but they secure the kill in the back of that. And That means no mech and no Viper for 60 seconds. It was longer. He's only now getting down below that 1 minute mark.
Yeah, this tier 1 is definitely free. I wonder if Alliance are feeling confident with going for the tier 2 as well. Or do Tinker really want to fight this? Yes, they do!
Ravage blinking, initiation on 3. 8 Mother, he already used a single heal. The Gyro and the Wisp no longer buddies. Fissure's going to connect on 2. Maybe they've underestimated just how strong Tinker are. Echo Slam was used by EGM as the creeps were pursuing him out. He tries to TP away Bulba, dying to creeps. Bulldog skates through, and he crushes through Tinker's offense. And now Blood's the offensive, turns it around, brains down Sing Sing. It's a triple for the dog. It's going to be an ultra. Nope. It goes the way of the Gyro. A wipe. The Viper still not respawned. That Necrophos Aghanim Scepter just got them a tier 1 and a team wipe.
And it looks like Team Tinker weren't completely sure about what they wanted to do there. They weren't on the same page. So they Blink Ravage, which was a really good Blink Ravage. The Fissure followed up. Where was the Static Storm? It came 3 seconds later. It came after the Ravage ended. He dropped like a mediocre Static Storm. So there was like the fight was happening here. There was like 1 or 2 heroes up here, and then he puts the Static Storm here. They need to be more in sync with going in so that when the Ravage hits 2 targets, the Static Storm needs to be dropped on top of it instantly, and they put the kinetic field
and then
down.
You Fissure,
even knew Loda didn't have BKB. So
yeah,
I think
he kind of wasted it coming in.
Yeah, Tinker going for that play was actually a pretty good call, but the execution wasn't good enough, and then they get to pay really hard. 7,500 gold lead now for Alliance. This is looking very good for them.
Bulldog's Batrider has been on point as well this game. 4-0-5. I mean, I'm going to keep on mentioning the S4 bats in because he's playing, and not just Bulldog's played his bat, but he's doing it as more like the director of the game, not as a complementary piece where, like, say, S4's on puck, but he is the initiator and he keeps on connecting.
He's been in 9 out of 10 kills. That's
very impressive.
Very good assistance ratio here, or whatever you want to call it. Kill attendance from Bulldog was the word I was looking for. Attendance ratio.
Yeah, he's showing up for class. He's taking notes. This Ember is a real problem. It's Sing Sing's just such a liability for his team. Did they not, like, could they have done more, and should they have done more to prioritize his farm early? Bulba, there was a decent amount of rotations off the top lane from the other supports.
Well, what Tinker did decide to do was not put the Ember mid and Viper top. They put the Viper mid to face up against the Batrider. I think Sing would have got better farm in the mid, and I think the dangerous thing for him, though, is that the roaming duo of Alliance could have been pretty good. But when they saw they were running this aggressive duo lane, it's extremely obvious when that roam comes in, because you can't just leave the lane with Wisp and leave Gyro alone. The enemy team will pick up on that. So I think Tinker should have probably swapped the lanes of Ember and Viper and just played Pyke at top. It would have made their safe lane stronger. He could have harassed and fought with Loda and the IO. And then whenever they get an opening, they could have gone in with a Fissure and a Thunderstrike and maybe even secured a kill.
Oh, so they're looking for Sing Sing mid. There's your lasso. Bulldogs at it again with call down here. Necrophos ult deleted from the game for 70 seconds. 8 Mothers having an easy time of it on his Necrophos. And how do you defend now? I mean, maybe you can. The Ember's probably the least important hero for their lineup at this stage, but it's still a 5v4. BKB's up on Loda. Doesn't have call down, though.
And they don't have Necro ult either, as Tinker are aware of here, so I don't
He'll
think
have
Alliance get the tower this time around.
He'll have the Necro ult before like a second or two before the Ember respawns. Imagine if he dies again to that. That's like 2.5 minutes on the sidelines.
Maybe they will. Looks like Tinker aren't too interested in taking this fight.
Man, Pycat is taking
it away.
He's taking a beating from these stuns of the Ogre. Sure, he's got corrosive skin and just the constant homing missile. He's being kited and controlled, the opposite of what a Viper is normally accustomed to. They don't even get the tower denial. If another homing missile laid down on EGM, these homing missiles are actually doing a lot to zone Tinker off of towers. Or as soon as Earthshaker sees one, he has to run. He can't just like sit there and wait for a good fissure. And same for your Viper. It doesn't want to get caught out of position as the mech carrier.
And speaking of mech, the gold is there now for Necrophos if he wants to buy 8 Mother, or he's about 100 off.
Do you think you go back for it at this stage?
I still think it's a very valuable pickup, because at this point, the only way Tinker really make a comeback, I think, is by winning a team fight. So you should itemize one of your heroes to secure that that team fight becomes as difficult as possible to win right now. But it looks like he's thinking BKB, which is another great solution. If they get BKBs on multiple heroes on Alliance, that's another way of making it difficult for Tinker.
Yeah, they already have the one on Lotus, still a 9-second. And that would make it 2. Bulldog, 2,700 gold, so he could have one soon as well. They could have turbo BKB maybe by 27 minutes or so. At which point, Tinker have Viper Strike, Sleight of Fist. That Disruptor Axe that I was going to say No Daddy. That Big Daddy No-Tail managed to farm yesterday. It's not in sight for Bulba. He's just way too poor to get one. So you don't really have great solutions for BKB, as you were saying.
He's currently dreaming of Arcane Boots, I think.
That's a sad dream. That's like dreaming of eating cereal or something.
Well, he doesn't need the Arcane Boots if you go for the Axe, right? Just the mana from the Axe is enough, actually. But
yeah.
I would be surprised if Bulba tries to build for the Axe. I think it's too big of an item for him to aim for here, so I think they should try to get something that has more immediate value. The question is which item is the right one. They still don't have an Urn, but I feel like the effectiveness of Urn has already dropped off really heavily at 24 minutes in. So.
And Alliance make their move onto the bottom lane. Lotus here, joined by Bulldog and friends. 8 Mother up in the front lines as well. They were sending Sing Sing top, the only hero visible on the lane, maybe hoping that Alliance would take bait. But Alliance were not falling for that. They're just split pushing and trading. And this tier 2 bottom is very low, so it's right now looking like a tier 1 for a tier 2. Glyph already used by the Dire. It's down for a long time, and they're going to claim it. The last hit going the way of Loda. Up to 3,200 gold now. Closing it on his first real damage item. No, actually goes for a Reaver. It's just a tank gyro. Just wants to live through this burst of Tinker.
BKB Satanic is a build I think we've seen Loda going a couple of times. In this game, I like it a lot because he doesn't need to deal high physical damage yet. He just needs to live, as you've said. So, with that high amount of AoE damage Tinker has, but the pretty insignificant single target damage that they do, then he can probably live because of that. This is a really good smoke from Alliance, by the way. They've crossed the entirety of the map right here.
They did see Bulldog, but I don't think they know that other support's inbound from the other direction. Now the trap could be sprung. Pycat has a homing missile laid onto him, and Loda jumps in. He focuses on Bulba immediately, turning back for Koiko. Already got off a Ravage. That's a great Static Storm. Caught out Misery and 8 Mother. Important heroes trapped down in the kinetic field. 8 Mother wound up falling. Still, they stand their ground. They make it a 2 for 2, but they can't really fight against Pycat, I don't think, anymore. Ake caught out. It's a triple going the way of Pycat. Now a 3 for 3 as the Wisp will fall. Another Fissure used. Do Tinker disengage? I almost feel like they could turn and fight. They're worried about Bulldog. Now that he sees the TP's out, he goes in. Flame Break in 1 second. Doesn't get it. 3 for 3.
I think you're happy with that if you're Tinker. Alliance went for a smoke gank, and they're really far ahead. So any even trade in numbers when they get the jump on you or try to sneak up on you.
Tinker did lose 2 cores and Alliance lose 1, but yeah, I think given what you said, it's... And gold-wise, they do come out on top because they're at a deficit.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much impossible to see it on the graphs, though. It seemed like it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, it was like 800 gold, I think. Yeah. But there was probably some creep waves farmed during that time or something that mixed it up. Well, Bulldog now gets his gem. Does he have a BKB? Oh, he's already got a BKB. They don't really have a solution when he jumps in anymore. Maybe they can Viper Strike him if they're... That's like really stretching it.
Yeah. You have to put that on Gyro now for the rest of the game. You have to Viper Strike him pretty much. Now, like we saw a game yesterday with... that was game 1 of Na'Vi versus EG, where Arteezy played Ember Spirit, got shut down, and was useless in the mid-late game. I feel like Sing Sing has even less farm than Arteezy did in that game. We're 27 minutes in, and he has a Claymore.
Uh-oh.
He
hasn't progressed in, like 10 minutes. It's unbelievable.
Nothing
They're going to go into Koik here. They've got the 8 Mother ultimate, and they will delete him from the game for 70 seconds. No Tide, I guess.
They go racks on this. I think that's the call as well. You see the pings coming out. There's no Blink Dagger on Shaker. EGM is 200 off it. The ultimates on the die are available, but Ravage, arguably
maybe
the most crucial one. Yeah, they could do Roche as well.
Or do they go for Sing Sing? They don't have their lasso. This Aghanim's Rush is just, if you have the bat, like this hero that can just constantly find pickouts, it's so potent. It removes any sort of counterplay from Tinker's arsenal.
To be honest with you, though, I think all the times they've used the Reaper's Scythe, the heroes that they've targeted have not had buyback gold anyway. But they don't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
But it's not only about the no buyback, it's also, it deals more damage as well.
That's true.
That's not the only thing about it.
Yeah, so. I'm just assuming they might have it, but it's entirely possible they wouldn't anyway.
But that's just the power of Necrophos in general since the 30-second increase in death time. Oh, they're catching out Misery. Pretty much a freebie here.
Yeah, Fissure
scouting out.
Concludes that engagement. They're not a great Roche lineup, to be honest.
This was, in my opinion, a pretty poor decision for Alliance to try and go for the Roche. Like you said, they have a weak Roshan lineup. They knew they had 70 seconds without the Tide. they could have maybe had the confidence to try and go deal some building damage. Or if they didn't want to get Roche, get the tier 2 top. I mean, they could have claimed that at the very least.
Still, Sing Sing is just so dirt poor. He's almost got his Battle Fury at least.
I think
5K. This is. It kind of looks like the Havos game in a different way. Like, it's not that the Gyro's super farmed, but he's still 2.5 times the Ember's net worth. It's kind of crazy.
I want to say that what we should focus on for Team Tinker now is actually how well can they do with the other 4 heroes, because we're talking a lot about Sing Sing's farm, but it's so abysmal that it's irrelevant for now. So the bigger items for Team Tinker now than that Battle Fury, in my opinion, was the Blink Dagger just picked up by EGM, gives them some team fight potential. The Viper now working on pretty much almost having a fully completed BKB, and the Refresher for Koikfa on the way as well. Those items are what need to keep the game alive for Tinker so that Sing Sing can become relevant, but there's quite a while until that happens, so they have to. The other heroes have to perform really well.
Yeah, maybe if they win one good team fight, he'll probably have the second component of this Refresher, and 2-1 team fights, he probably has it. And maybe if they sneak the Roche, it's even a bit quicker than that. Still, though, they have to win some engagements, or this has to go another 4 or 5 minutes to complete it, because it's not like anyone's allowed to just freely farm in this game. And when the Bat's on the move, Tinker are just not playing too aggressively. I think a little more flexibility for Alliance to spread the map, but they're choosing to just basically deathball. There's a blink up onto the high ground as Bulldog looks to initiate. He had to BKB, but a quick Viper strike was used to disengage. So the one solution to that lasso attempt.
I think he was just counter warding. Yeah, with Firefly and just attacking there. And that means there's no vision in the area for Tinker now, so if they think Roche is happening, they have to try to go for the play. But they're in the dark, apart from... No, never mind, they just placed a new ward here. So EGM went down and placed this, so until that gets counter-warded by Bulldog...
But it's up against a Bat Rider with a gem. Like, how long is this ward really going to last?
Until Alliance want to try to check there again, which might be in a while. It looks like they're not interested.
What an answer. Until it's dewarded. Or expires. Well, they're going to group up bottom lane. At least they've stopped finding pickoffs if you're Tinker. They haven't been giving any up as of late. They do complete the Sing Sing Battle Fury. They haven't lost their base yet. And to be fair, Loda is not farming all that quickly. 14k net worth at 31 minutes. Had he been had they prioritized just farming him, he could be a lot bigger than this.
Yep.
But they've chosen more to just starve Tinker and try and keep it as static of a game as possible.
It's also with his item build, right? That's where
Satanic in particular.
Voss did it very differently. He went for heavy damage and the Yasha for the move speed and, of course, the attack speed and damage. So he could farm much quicker and pretty much clear out the entire jungle every minute, in addition to getting creep waves, too.
They also just haven't been stacking as much. That's the other thing.
And they've been looking to fight, which I think is okay. I guess the reason Sing Sing's farm is as poor as it is that they've been prioritizing map controlling rather than farming, because then it would have been a trade-off. So all in all, I think it's okay for Alliance here, but the thing is, now Loda's damage is pretty insignificant still with his item choices, though. So when we get towards that later portion of the mid-game, or maybe even the earlier stage of the late game, I don't know if Alliance can kill the heroes until Loda gets like an MKB or something, which is pretty far away.
It's all magic damage, actually, and Pycan has picked up a BKB. So potentially this Viper can become the main source of damage for any team, at least single target-wise.
Alliance still don't have a mech. I'm kind of baffled by this when you look at what lineup they're up against. This a weird choice for me. I think it's perfectly fine not to get a pipe if you want to run BKBs, but the mech would just give so much value for its price.
Yeah. The heal, the plus armor against Ember is pretty nice, too.
Yep.
Well, at this point, I guess if they're not going for it,
if the fights aren't happening, who cares, right?
Yeah. The Wisp maybe could go for it at this point, but the hour grows late even to get a mech at all. As soon enough, there will be some just single target bursts, but you may not even get to use it if the Wisp is the carrier. It's Tinker who now try to sneak the Roche, and they lumber EGM out of the pit to pick up a regen rune. This means that Alliance know exactly what they're up against. An Ape Mother and Bulldog surge in, BKB at the ready. He could jump in quick. Roche is low enough to be contested. Now the Ravage comes through. That caught out 3. Echo to follow. Fantastic chain stun as Loda no longer has his little buddy. The Wisp will buy back. Bulldog used his lasso, didn't get much done. Now Flame Breaking EGM back will try to finish off this Earthshaker. Elsewhere in the fight, they did Necrophos ult to kill off Sing Sing, so he cannot buy back. And Bulldog is now being pursued by the Flying Manta Ray. Tether won't save him. He drops this gem. Pycat has to retreat, though. So in the end, a 3 for 2 with a Wisp buyback. Not done just yet. Koiko trying to TP out. Can't succeed in it. They get another kill, making it a 4 for 2 with the Wisp buyback, I believe.
Big play coming in for Alliance, getting...
Oh, and a buyback on Disruptor as well.
Yeah, and they only bought back the IO, which... This is reminding me of, if you remember how Alliance used to play with IO at TI3, they would love fighting in the Roche pit because they were like, okay, the enemy team will go on our IO, buy back, relocate, or they'll go on someone else. Just make sure IO dies too, you both buy back and relocate back in, right? So the opener for Tinker here, again, it's pretty good, right? They get a Ravage, they get a good Echo Slam, but Disruptor, not in range. The Static Storm came through on 2 BKB targets because all the stuns had expired. And I mean, sure, they wouldn't have died, but that extra maybe a few hundred damage he could have dealt to both might have allowed Sing Sing to take down the Gyro, for example, before the Satanic comes up, or they will be able to kill the other hero that gets caught in the storm. So
I think
it's expensive that the Disruptor can't keep up. And it's not because Bulba is misplaying it, because
it's his farm. He doesn't
not
have a
range.
Force Staff, doesn't have a Blink Dagger.
He can't get in that far. So if they want to jump like that, Bulba has to already be making his move in towards it when they blink, or they need to wait until he's in a better position with even initiating in the first place.
And now the next round of items may come out. Let's see, what are we looking at here? Oh, Blink Dagger from 8 Mother, that's what he picked up. It's like, huh,
a good
he
choice
spent his
here.
gold. So Blink Dagger on him. Bulldog has 2k gold, no new items picked up. Misery works towards his Ags, not that close. MKB up on Loda fairly soon, only 600 gold to go, and we'll have to hold that thought because they're jumping on Sing Sing again. The team is rallying to join him, but they may be too late as 8 Mother's already in. Can they get off that Aghanim's ult? Can they do? Sing Sing is spending like half of this game dead. They only catch the Wisp in this kinetic field. This is becoming a real issue. I mean, it's not even the fact that he's poor, it's the fact that he doesn't even get to do anything.
He's working on his phase boots in a 35-minute game. That's kind of a sad story to be honest.
It's just such a discrepancy compared to the game against Secret, where he was so godly farmed.
Yeah.
He had,
Alliance
like,
will even push the base now.
Why not?
They-
Ravage is up, to be fair, but
They can't kill 8 Mother
they've
twice.
got triple BKB and the Aegis. And that's assuming they even get the Ravage before
good
these
Fissure.
BKBs are popped. This will be a wraparound from Koikfa. He's going to try to set the tempo for this fight. But the positioning of Alliance is such that you will not catch the Wisp and also catch the frontliners. Maybe you do as she moves in a bit closer. 8 Mother continues to not so slowly right-click this down. Bloodlust is their ally in this. And now they go in. The Ravage was there. At the same time, Lasso pulled Pycat in. A great jump in. Lodo ended up falling. 8 Mother did not get off his BKB. He's standing in the Static Storm, just letting himself drop. He'll dry once. 3 heroes dead with the Aegis. They bring back 1. They may lose him a second time. Can he BKB? He will. He turns and he starts healing. Now he drops the ult onto Pycat. Gets 1. He may look for more. This Necrophos is standing tall against Tinker, though now he may be in trouble. Fissure's going to find him. They didn't catch on that first Enchant Totem. Glimpse is ready. They pull him back in. They will
Sing
chain
Sing
him up.
needs this kill.
Oh, can he get the bounty? That would be huge for Sing Sing. 8 Mother, triple remnant. Does he get it? Oh, somebody? It's Sing Sing. He ends the mega kill streak. 533 gold from the kill. Bounty, and, well, in total, Sing Sing gained 941 from that fight.
That was a really good hold by Tinker. I thought they were going to lose Rax there. Necrophos with the Aegis in the front line.
They
But
did not get off Loda's BKB.
Loda was committed to, and he wasted his Satanic earlier as well. He had taken, like, let's say a quarter of his health in damage, and he started Satanicking and hitting a couple creeps. So when the fight broke out, he didn't have it. And instead of doing that in that situation when he wasn't really in danger, they could have just earned him up with Aki and reset and gone in again.
Or just heal him with Necrophos full time.
They have
a few times.
They had plenty of options. I think popping the Satanic there was
Relocate on mid.
mistake.
Sing Sing, as quickly as he gets that gold, he may lose it. No, he's able to zip out.
no Necrophos there this time.
Mercy for once.
It's still crazy. Pycat is dead for 100 seconds.
I love that Eggs upgrade. I really enjoyed it when we were seeing especially like the original 6.82, which you and I were, I guess, two of the few casters who cast that particular patch. It was short-lived because it finally would end games when they get you can't fight back. No more rubber band shenanigans. I don't think it's as ridiculous now, but oh, that was also where the Wraith King came into play, the Refresher Wraith King, just so you never die. If you never die, you never give up the gold.
Alliance looking for another opening. This smoke is a really valuable one. If they find a kill here with the Necrophos ult, they might be able to get Rax bottom. And Tinker are completely out of position here.
It seems
Easily
they always
get
are
caught.
against Bulldog. Oh, Quakefoot does blink out. They already used their flame break.
Oh, this is important. They will live.
They were so close to going down.
Good glimpse. Good blink from Quakefoot. And they get to reset once more.
Did they also lose their gem? No, it looks like Misery's still sitting on it. Yeah, Bulldog actually, by the way, was the one to buy that gem. I mentioned it was Bulldog's gem, but just to be clear, he did spend the gold on it. That's just how farmed he's been all game. He bought the gem and he picked up his own BKB, and he's on 3.8k gold. He's still doubling the net worth of the enemy Ember. But the big item for Tinkerson that I'm looking at now, because the BKB timings haven't always been that crisp for Alliance, is this refresher for Quakefoot that you were touching on earlier, and it's pretty much ready.
He has it.
Can he get to this?
That's the problem. He can't buy it.
All right, let's make a journey to the Radiant Secret Shop. 5-man smoke.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That's going to be a long journey.
Big problem. This is the most important item in the game for Team Tinker, and they can't get it. The area is just controlled completely by Alliance.
Can you like pay Alliance off in order to secure it, maybe?
Pay the border guard.
Yeah, bribe him a little. The other thing is there's an MKB now on the way for Loda. He almost had it before that push. They didn't opt to get it first. So he finally has his first damage item of this game. Pretty damn late, to be honest. 40 minutes in.
Yeah, I think it's too late as well. But that was the item build he chose. It had a couple of... it had the implications on the game that Tinker weren't really interested in fighting. It had the implications that going on Loda was really difficult. But in hindsight, that Satanic has not been worth its weight in gold at all.
It hasn't saved him once.
Hasn't saved him, hasn't really put much pressure.
You don't need it. You don't need it for the heal either because you have the Wisp and the Necrophos.
I think if he item built like Voss did, he could have had a net worth of at least 5,000 higher. So he could have had another full item if he would have gone for that. So, and there it is. They finally got in there. They invaded their own secret shop with wards, sentries, and 5 heroes.
Back to the barracks.
And this means unless Alliance saw that because of this creep wave, they don't know the refresher is there. And that's huge, because they might assume they can take a fight. Quakefoot needs to hide this. He should be really careful with going out onto lanes to farm, because keeping the secret from Alliance is worth way more than whatever gold he can find in a lane.
Yeah, and what are you going to do? Start farming your Shiva's Guard? The Alliance are not going to just sit back and idly watch Tinker farm up a... defend their base 5 heroes at a time and farm a core item and on the Tide as well as the Ember. I mean, Sing Sing still needs his gold.
To be honest with you, I think this game starts looking better and better for Tinker. I think with this 15k deficit, the game looks better than it did with a 10k deficit 15 minutes ago.
I would agree with that. Their game plan is starting to come together, and Alliance are not putting enough pressure. They might wait for the next Rosh and then try for it, so this is where the RNG comes into play. If this is a long Roshan respawn, Sing Sing will have a Daedalus next fight. And with that build-up, he, by the way, didn't go for the face boots. He got the Crystallis with his claws, just going for the highest amount of damage he can right now. Completely agree with it. Just go full glass cannon. It's not like he's running away from a Wisp, a Bloodlust, a Bat Rider. He's either getting good initiation from his teammates and winning the fight, or he's just dying.
If he gets caught and gets Necro-ultied, well, whoever gets caught and gets Necro-ultied at this point pretty much dies. Unless if it's a BKB Viper. Because Loaded is a spread damage carry.
Yeah.
They cannot kill a BKB Viper at all, so Pycat can play with a lot of confidence in these team fights. And that's how they need to open them. Pycat, if he goes in, if he sets a target, especially if he can catch out Aki early on and they can start focusing heroes, that is the way to go.
They have 5 heroes near the Rosh pit. Misery's just AFK here, basically. He knows how important this is. It's a 2 minutes or so to go on the respawn, though. Loda will close in on his next item. He's pulling back towards your carry gyro, albeit late. He still has a fairly healthy BKB, 7 seconds. One more fight, though, and he gets towards the danger zone.
I think his GPM in the last 3 minutes has been 100 higher than
they focused a lot more on farming. It feels like they could have done a lot more of this earlier, to be honest. Even if Tinker left the base and occasionally got kills, it would have been only with Ravage once he got the BKB. Yeah, 260 CS at 420 minutes. 42 minutes. 420.
420. Blaze the farm.
42 minutes. Yeah. Like, Havos would have had 10 CS a minute, I feel like, or more.
He would have had more.
12.
In that game, he had the same amount of last hits Loda has right now, he had at 25 minutes.
Uh-oh, might have a clash. Who's quicker on the draw? It's Bulldog, gets off his BKB lasso on EGM. Say goodbye to your Earthshaker, and he's removed from the game as they chase forward.
They scythed him. What a waste.
Well, he's not in the fight, but let's see. Ravage coming
This could
through.
be a costly mistake.
Connects on 2. Secondary Ravage use Static Storm onto Misery. They bring down the Gyrocopter. They lose Ake. Now he's retreating out with a Haster. And 8 Mother also on the run. Blinks at the trees. Can he TP out? He's already used his BKB. Sing Sing's found him and starts working on him. He is fairly tanky. They're going to need the Viper support to finish off this Necrophos. And they got it now. Now the TP attempted. Too late. 8 Mother down as well. They get out only the Wisp and I believe the Bat Rider. Yeah, they saved 2 in the end, but it cost them 3.
The double Ravage surprise. I still don't think Alliance were aware that it was there.
Did they really not see it for that
really
long?
early. I'm not sure. Loda B could beat pretty early. The Necrophos ult was really wasted on that. They used it on a 10% HP Earthshaker who, even if he had buyback, would have not been able to get back in there. There's like, what would he TP on? He could TP here. He needs to walk for a good 20 seconds to even get back in the fight. So the Necrophos ultimates in the game so far, to me, have been pretty much spot on from 8 Mother, but that right there was a costly mistake they cannot make again. They're so far behind. Look at that amount of gold. It's a 5,000 swing from one fight.
That's your data list for Sing Sing.
Yep.
Now he can complete his, maybe he goes back for like some mobility, the Boots of Trout, maybe he just goes for more damage. It is a big turn of momentum, and honestly, at this point, I think it is, like you said, you start to worry a bit for Alliance that they just haven't starved Tinker as much as they would have liked to. And they did starve them.
The starvation was good,
they
but
didn't
they didn't
keep
get enough.
They didn't keep ahead enough.
Yeah.
It's more the issue.
Well, we're saying that when they had a 15k gold lead, which was great, but
it's a 45 minutes.
It's not just the amount of gold, it's also how it's distributed. I mean, how useful is a 16,000 net worth Bat Rider right now? They could have, Bulldog could have done the same, pretty much the same as he's doing right now with 5k less, and that 5k could have been on Loda. And then he would have had a damage item, and maybe he would have had more experience, more stats overall, and maybe doesn't die there. There's a lot of maybes, but I think Alliance, the way they've strategized, the way they picked, the way they put their lanes was great. And then in the mid game, it's like there was no clear-cut plan for how they wanted to execute the later portion of the game, which is really uncharacteristic for that team.
That's normally one of their strengths, is the late game decision making. Up there with Secret, I would say. They're going to work on the Roche. They do have an Eagle Sun on Loda. Closes in on his Butterfly. Will be a big pickup versus that Ember. No MKB in sight. 16 is still a long way off from his next item, but he at least has the data list to work with. And they're in position to take this Roche, just leaving the Gyrocopter in the pit, and
we thought it would never happen.
Ha!
Jinx.
Double Jinx. Triple Jinx.
Is that what you say? Isn't there like another one?
No Rejinx or something?
Rejinx? Are you serious? There is something else I think you say when both say Jinx. Anyway, you lost. Loda is going to get
How did I lose? I got the double Jinx off. You don't even know what the next step in the conversation is.
At least I didn't just invent something.
Double Jinx isn't an invention. That exists.
Sure.
Weren't you ever a kid?
Well, now it does.
Were you just born as a crotchety old man? Or?
No, I didn't really speak much English as a kid.
Okay, fair enough.
It's an Aegis for Loda. They look like they'll be pushing the bot lane with 5 heroes now. And this is the fight for Tinker. If they win this fight, in my opinion, they come back and maybe win this game. Or they come back and win this game. I'm going to make that statement. If they take a solid team fight victory here, they will be taking, they'll be getting in charge of the game. But it's a big if.
Well, do they take it or do they get in charge of it?
Yeah, and having the Aegis on Loda is better than having it on 8 Mother at this point. I agree with that choice. The last one they put on Necrophos, in my book, one of the absolute best Aegis carries in the game. But right now, you want to have it on your chart.
They're breaking high ground, and Loda will ping down that range Rex. Now begins to siege out the melee. He does get slighted, and there's a crit. Brings Loda down low. He's going to Satanic to heal himself up. They bring in some reinforcements from the Necrophos. They position a bit better this time, Sin, leaving only the Gyrocopter up on the high ground and leaving everyone else in reserve. The Echo Slam was attempted. They want to clear this Aegis out, but they keep him alive. Nice Force Staff usage from Alliance. And now the lasso pulled in Boba. No Disruptor, Aghanim's ultimate. I didn't see where they used the Necrophos ult, but they chased on the Pycat. Now they get the lasso. On to Pycat they go. Now the Ravage from Koikva. Ravage 1 was good. Ravage 2 not used because of the multi. What a great time for a ding-ding. Now they can look for this final Rax, perhaps. Who'd they buy back on? Just the Tidehunter immediately. Man, he had that fight with the second Ravage. But now they're all up to full HP.
And Boba can't buy back. First of all, he has no gold, and secondly, I think he did get killed by the Necro. They're going to go on Loda. He has Satanic ready.
He might have to use it now. Yeah, he's going to, and he gets relocated out. That was a wise choice. I don't think they save him without that.
Ake's going to die now.
They did not get melee racks.
Do Alliance think they can fight this?
I don't think so.
I don't think Alliance can fight this.
Oh, he's just going to tether out?
Okay. They let him get away. Okay. Well,
the Fisher was late.
Wow, that was also a 2 billion range tether. So,
sure.
What are you going to do?
That Wisp had a jetpack attached. They only took a range Rex, though. And the melee can begin its healing process now. At the same time, they complete a Shiva's Guard on the Necro. Overall, they pull ahead there, forcing out the Tidehunter buyback.
But the Aegis is down.
Did Sing Sing die in that fight, by the way?
I
think he
don't
did.
think so.
No?
Did he buy back? Well, then we're going to see.
He definitely didn't buy back.
Okay. Well,
I'm
yeah,
not
he might have
sure.
respawned. You're right. I think he got away.
Okay.
But, well, regardless, he's going to go back to farming at this point. But like you said, Alliance, they do come out ahead. Without the Aegis, though, pushing again is going to be difficult. And they didn't get the melee racks. They got a range. So
yeah.
Still a pretty good defense from Team Tinker. And once again, not sure how much I agree with the Reaper Scythe usage. They don't really care about using that on the Disruptor. They want to get it on the Tide, they want to get it on the Viper, or they want to get it on the Ember. And then they can probably even end the game, because if any of those three are out without buyback, it's a totally different story.
And the other thing is, let's say they use it on the Ember. Maybe they break even on the fight, don't convincingly win. He doesn't get any gold out of that fight, right? He's not benefiting really at all. So that's still very worthy in its own right.
Having Bulba not farm is irrelevant. He has his core item, the one we thought he'd never get in the game.
Yeah, so this is not going to be your FY Midas refresher.
He has the core item Boots of Speed and the luxury item Aghanim Scepter and nothing else. So, well, there's another item coming in for Loda.
He's upgraded to an Accord from a Civic, and that'll pretty much be where his game ends as far as farm goes. Poor Bulba. It's beyond the 6th position now.
But he still could make the biggest play of the game if they make a combination play where they Ravage and then they prevent the BKB usage. That's what the Static Storm needs to do here. The previous initiation from EGM was pretty poor.
They have the jump, though. They look for Pycat now. No BKB use yet by Bulldog. Now he pops it. He doesn't have Refresher for 12. If Pycat dies, he won't have buyback thanks to that Scythe, and they don't get it. The Reaper Scythe prevents the buyback. Dead for 110 seconds. Bulldog kept alive by Tether. No Refresher. Ends up falling. He can buy back. He will immediately. And he BOTs in mid. They oh, there's no. I guess he's just going to push down the mid lane now. They already got the bottom. Do they go for 2? There's no Viper for 100. That's most of their damage, honestly. Well, most of their single target damage, I should say. They might be able to win this game right now, Sind.
Yeah, with Static Storm on cooldown too. Granted, they do have 2 Ravages and an Echo Slam, and Sing Sing can get a couple of lucky crits, but I don't know if that's enough to bring down the Radiant team.
And Bulldog, actually, I mentioned the Refresher cooling down. Because Lasso is a low cooldown, he will have double Lasso and double BKB. So he could single-handedly bring 2 heroes down. Go for the Ember with 1, go for the Earthshaker with another.
And look at this. When the Viper has 50-second cooldown left on, or 50 seconds on his respawn, they have another Reaper Scythe ready.
That's what I'm talking. Late game, man.
In 10 seconds, they can just lasso someone, get another kill, and then
they're going to right now. They reel in EGM, a crucial part of the team fight. This time they
no buyback.
1 second on the Reaper
They didn't even need it. He doesn't have gold.
How fortunate! And now they've got another lasso ready if they want to use it. Refresher not popped yet. If he doesn't need the double lasso, it's best to save it because it has such a low cooldown in relation. But he sees the opening. Oh no! He actually whiffed a bit. EGM's or Koikfa's going to get off his double Ravage. Then they throw out the Reaper Scythe. Not enough to kill off Koikfa yet. He'll end up falling immediately afterwards. And this might be it regardless. Alliance just too much brute force, too much beef in the front lines. Bulba to die as well. And Alliance, they were on their last legs on day 1. They started this group stage off 0-2. They took 1 game off of Cloud9. They still went to the lower bracket. And now it looks like they will smack down EGM and friends, take a 3rd lane of Rax, and with that, the GG. They'll move on to face the winner of our next match, Na'Vi versus Cloud9, unless Tinker can do the unthinkable and win against Mega Creeps. Not sure we can see that happening.
Oh, what a great relocate from Ake. Keeps him alive.
They're still chasing onto the back lines. EGM has Echo. He finds out too. Loda and Misery in trouble, but it's, well, not Loda, only Misery. Loda's fine. Now your Wisp comes back.
Oh, he didn't manage to get 8 Mother with him.
Yeah, I guess not. That's okay. He can blink and chase out anyway.
He's going to buy BOTs while he's running up there.
Why not?
Next time I'll just pour on my own. Yeah. Thanks, Ake.
You're useless. Ake has played a good Wisp, though.
Yeah. And it's not a hero that he's been playing a lot for Alliance in the past because they had EGM playing it, and I think they've generally had Misery playing it when they've picked it apart from that with the new roster. So good to see Ake expanding an already vast hero pool. To me, probably the only very core support pick that we've almost never seen Ake play.
Well, now Tinker up against Megas. They only have one hero who clears these really well, and that's Ember. But even then, with that full Sleight of Fist, he just brings the wave down to half. Quakefoot can tank them just fine. And if Alliance really want to play this safe, they can wait for the next Roche and then go look to win the game. And now they start itemizing on Tinker to fight against massive creeps. Maelstrom picked up by Pycat. It's still going to be slow work at this point, just to get the waves out. This is truly Defense of the Ancient now. Dota living up to its name here.
Well, I think Alliance are just looking to end it now. They have double lasso in 50 seconds. They might wait for that, but they can also just take one lasso kill. Again, if they lasso into the Reaper's side, the game ends.
They also have triple buyback.
Hero.
And the triple buyback to boot. Buyback status for the Dire, 0. Nobody even close. 800 plus gold on all of them. Or 760 plus gold on all of them. Do you just straight thrown it?
I don't see why not. Or not straight thrown, you just get a lasso kill.
Yeah.
But as it looks right now, they don't even necessarily need to do anything apart from just put the waves into the base and just run around in circles. They're going to check Roche.
It's actually
spawning in 45.
Yeah. Less than a minute.
Pretty good timer. And then they'll end. So Tinker, like you said, unless the unthinkable happens, this does end the journey for them. I'm wondering what, like, during this tournament, what they've learned about, like, what most teams do after a LAN event is that they take something away from it and they analyze it and find a way to improve themselves, figure out some drafting or figure out some issues with the playstyle. To me, a really huge part of this falls back on how they put their lanes and that they were stubborn on not getting Sing Sing farmed, or on giving it to Viper over the Ember in a game where I think the Ember was a crucial part of their chance at winning. I think they did their lanes wrong. Flat out.
So put the Ember mid versus the Bat, and then run the Viper in the safe lane.
I think it would have been better. It wouldn't have been an easy lane by any means for Sing Sing, but he would have got something. And even if he doesn't get farm in that, he gets levels. And then he can use the levels to find kills and then get farm. Instead, you farm up a Viper who gets a mech, which is great, but Alliance didn't want to take those team fights anyway, so how useful was it really?
It does go back to something we were talking about yesterday of, like, just what heroes do you want to put Pycat on? Heroes like Slark, he's excelled at in the past.
He played a great Viper.
Clinks has been one of his go-tos. He's played the Viper well, but does this team revolve more around him being on a hero that can just, like, tempo control better? Somebody like a Slark or, you know, some more aggressive type ganker.
I don't think they rely on that, but then they rely on someone else being able to do it. And Sing Sing was supposed to be that guy, but you can't play a tempo controlling carry without farm or levels. Then you're just a puppet running around, just waiting to get its head ripped off, right? Yeah. And that's what happened to Sing Sing this game. I think it's pretty admirable that he only died 5 times, but that also goes to show how little farm he's found, because usually at this point in the game with a 5-death Ember, you would have 3 or 4 big items, and he currently has 2. So, or maybe even 5 big items. Yeah.
The creeps begin to pile in, and Bulldog's going to leap forward with the lasso to start on EGM. He refreshes. He's got a secondary lasso at the ready. That's a perfect double ravage, as good as it's going to get. Static Storm was used, but Loda walks out of it, and they shred Tinker. They rip them a new one in their own base. And Tinker are going home. It's Alliance who stands strong here on the big stage at Kiev. They move on. And they will face the winner of Na'Vi versus Cloud9, which will be our next match. And they're excited. Look at that.
I think they're really happy with this.
Mother's hype.
After how the beginning of the tournament went for them, I think they're starting to find their stride, find their playstyle. I think, as you pointed out, Bulldog probably the standout player for Alliance in this game on his Batrider. He's received a lot of flack for it lately, that his Batrider, he had a couple of games that were really poor on the hero, but today he's showing up to win. And maybe he's just much better on the hero when he plays at mid instead of off lane. It seems that whenever he gets at mid, he does well. When in the off lane, it's pretty underwhelming. So
and maybe it's how it affects things elsewhere, like the ripple effect on, say, 8-Mother, who doesn't have as much pressure. Also, they're not trying to force the Magnus picks anymore. I really like the way Alliance is drafting in this tournament.
This was a good pick overall.
It was a little scary at that one point in the game, though. When they tried to push up high ground, they failed. Then they got caught by the double ravage, but they just got too durable. The BKBs were there, and in the end, Alliance prevailed.
But you could also say that at that point in the game, they were kind of the masters of their own fate, right? Because if they wanted to, they could have had a bigger lead than they did. Yeah. So the reason it got maybe dangerous was that they didn't take enough advantage of the advantage they had already built. Or I'm getting at, but you know, they could have flat out farmed more. There was pretty much no pressure coming from the side of Team Tinker for a good 20 minutes, where Loda could have farmed up and got full inventory, and they could have gone. But I mean, at the end of the day, they get the win and they played better. So
Boy, they look really bummed out. I mean, they felt pretty confident coming in, and they fell short in the end. Guys, that wraps up Team Alliance versus Tinker. Alliance move on. Tinker go home. They will finish tied for 5th, 6th place. And with that, well, we're going to cut to a quick break here. When we come back, we preview Navi versus Cloud9. We get ready for a final losers bracket match of day number 3, and then we head to the exciting thing, the winner bracket finals. Secret EG, the first ever meeting. Stay tuned. You're watching Beyond the Summit's presentation of Starladder Season 10. We'll be right back.
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.